My 48M daughter, 19F, tried to hurt herself after we found out she's not biologically mine. How do I help her understand that I'm still her father and that her existence is the best thing in my life? My little girl thinks that her existence is evil. We found out recently that her mother, my wife of 23 years, cheated on me when the man claiming to be her biological father showed up on our doorstep, demanding to see her and claiming he didn't know she existed. It's been quite possibly the worst few weeks of my life, but she took it so much worse than I did. She calls herself a bastard. She won't talk to her siblings or her mother and only apologizes to me. I don't care if she's half T-Rex. I love her with every bone in my body, and she tried to take her life last night. My wife found her. She's going to be okay, but this can't happen again. I can't talk to anyone about this. I don't want my family to know. I don't know how to be what she needs. Please help. Update. Thank you for the advice. Things are not better yet. In fact, things have gotten deeply disturbing. I tried to write this up without using names, and it got confusing, so let's just call my non-biological daughter Jane. My other 3 kids are John, 21, Jill, 17, and Jenny, 15. John, Jill, and Jenny went out and got DNA tested behind my back. The other 3 kids are biologically mine. They made a big show of giving the results at a family dinner that was supposed to help us all bond again as a family after the original issue, and it upset my daughter a lot. She felt rejected, and honestly, I felt insulted that they hadn't respected my wishes and let sleeping dogs lie, at least until things were more stable. I started my absolute best to make Jane feel more safe once she came home. I started sleeping on the couch in her room so she could talk to me if she ever woke up feeling like she had to. I've been taking her and her siblings out a lot more than I used to. I got her presents and tried to be there for her. I even did something I haven't done since high school and broke out my old guitar and wrote her a song. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. I guess I thought she'd be able to understand I wasn't full of it. My soon-to-be ex-wife decided to use all of this to accuse me of being creepy to Jane, saying now that I know we're not related, I'm preying on her. She said this in front of Jane. It caused Jane to have a second mental breakdown, and it caused me to call a lawyer and start planning for a divorce. This is, in my opinion, a far more unforgivable offense than cheating. She's my daughter. I'm going to fight like hell for as much of custody of Jill and Jenny as possible. And the good news is, they both seem to want to live with me, and they're old enough that it matters. Those comments, however, made getting through to Jane extremely difficult. I'm worried she'll attempt every day, and she doesn't want me sleeping in her room anymore. I hate my wife with every bone in my body for causing this mess. I can't tell my daughter I love her anymore without scaring her, and she was already scared our relationship was going to change. She says she believes me when I tell her I would never in a million years see her as anything but my child, but she flinches when I hug her. How the hell do I fix this? Man, this is a train wreck. How do you navigate through this? First off, the wife is a terrible person for saying and doing all of the things she's said and done in the story. And as to how do you fix this? Over time, I suppose. That's not something that gets resolved overnight, right? Maybe therapy? A lot of communication, but man, that is tough. This guy's fighting. Next story. Story number 2. My husband, 38M, won't touch me, 36F. Sexless marriage. We've been together for almost 10 years in total and have been married for 4 years. This problem started around 2 years ago. He won't touch me, and when he does, he doesn't perform. And the few times he does perform without help, he finishes within minutes. In any case, it always feels like it is a chore for him. I feel no passion from him, no desire, nothing. At first, he said it was work stress related. Things changed for him at work, for the better, but it continued to decline in the bedroom. I've always had a higher drive than him, but we found a good balance, and I was happy with that. We've talked about it. I was always honest, told him I need us to work this out, that I need sex. He will make an effort if I ask, which to me totally defeats the purpose. He went to the doctor. His levels are fine. He says he loves me, but his body doesn't respond. I have been nothing but supportive all this time, not making a big fuss when he fails and willing to try again. The doctor gave him Viagra months ago, and he's only taken it once. It is getting to a point it is taking a toll on me mentally and physically. I am frustrated. I feel unappreciated and unwanted. Self-esteem is on the floor, and it is getting hard, but I haven't cheated. I suggested to open the marriage, to which he almost agreed but changed his mind last minute, asking me to keep trying. How long is too long to keep trying? Any thoughts? Edit. Just to clarify, I'm not the type to not be in the mood sometimes. I'm always in the mood. Like always. I can't remember ever saying no to him in 10 years. Edit number 2. Him. Extremely healthy and athletic, goes to the gym every single day, so not a lack of exercise or bad diet. Me, a tennis player. We're on holiday at the moment. I get constant looks by the pool, by the tennis courts, on the street. It's not a looks problem either. Edit number 3. I recognize that my advances could potentially be a turn-off factor for him, so I stopped. I gave him time and space. I did not touch him sexually or acted flirty for a while. I waited for him to come to me. That went on for months, and we didn't have any sex at all as a result. Edit 4. We do share moments together. We hug, we laugh, we lay in bed/sofa together, we watch things together, popcorn and all the cute things included. All that feels comfortable and nice, but it never leads to sex. You know what it is? He's secretly gay. That's it. If I was a betting man, I would bet that's it. Also, did you guys ever see that King of the Hill episode where Peggy wanted more out of Hank, so she spiked him with testosterone? Maybe she should do that. Hank was doing somersaults over lawnmowers, and then they were banging every day. Testosterone, people. Next story. Story number 3. My M36 wife, F29, is refusing to come back until the problem is fixed. She would be referring to my son. My wife has been gone for about a week now. She took our 2 kids to her parents' house and plans to remain there until she feels like our home is safe to live in. Last week, our daughter went into my oldest son's room and recognized a gun. I was not home at the time, but my wife told me that when she went in my son's room to get my daughter, she found her holding it. She was hysterical on the phone, and by the time I got home, she was already 1 foot out the door with our son in one hand and a suitcase in the other. I don't even know where the hell my son got it in the first place, and he won't budge. I seriously don't know what the next step is here. For the past year, he is unwilling to cooperate with anything I'm trying to do to find out what is going on. My son is extremely distant, and that crowd that he has been with really concerns me. He had a great group of friends, but one by one, they started dropping until he was completely emerged with his friends now. Constant law breaking, skipping school, selling drugs, and all this other stuff that I can't even get through to him about. I have one final option, but I've been pushing off on doing this, but I truly believe that I've run out of ideas. For him to go live with his mother in another country. But again, I don't want to do this because I don't want him to feel like I've just abandoned him. I've tried talking to him, psychiatrists, multiple therapists, etc., but absolutely nothing. It only gets worse as time goes by. I thought this would be his rock bottom, finding out that his little sister could have almost died due to his negligence, but no. He lies, denies, and then refuses to answer my questions. I've worked remotely this whole week to ensure he's in the house, but he refuses to do so. I just want to figure out what's going on, but it feels like all my attempts at it are failing. Please, what I'm looking for are any more suggestions on how to get through to him? Story number 4. I-19M and GF-21F kissed another guy and now want to get back. Basically, the title. My GF got drunk and kissed another guy. She parties a lot, and this isn't the first time. Previously, she claimed the guy kissed her out of nowhere, and she didn't say anything because she was shocked. This time, she says, it was a meaningless kiss. It means nothing. It was just a mistake. And then she starts kissing me and all that. I told her we were done and left. She then messages me saying, I'm sorry, I was immature. Let's forget about this, okay? I just want to try to be better. I understand your feelings, but I still have feelings for you. I responded with, be better for your next boyfriend. She has been constantly messaging me, asking to work it out. This morning, she left me another message. Please, I just miss you. Don't punish me like that. I said, I'm sorry. I need you. Please. And I told her, you just need some sex, not me. And she responded, you think so? I can get some whenever I want. I need you specifically. Remember how happy we were together? I swear I can do it better. Please. I already made so many plans for us. Why are you being this cruel? I just said, you are the cruel one here, and I've been ignoring her ever since. But she's persistent with messages and calls. Is it worth forgiving her, or should I just keep ignoring her and move on? That sort of thing is kind of up to the individual, wouldn't you agree? For some people, kissing is like, it's not cheating, but I'd be mad. Other people, it's like, all right, we're immediately done. Bye. See you later. You know what you were doing. What about me? What about you people at home? What's your line? Mine? Robbery. Like if she stabbed and robbed me, I'd be like, hey, I don't think this is going to work out. All right, next story. Story number 5. My 30F husband 31M gave me an ultimatum. My husband and I have been fighting a lot lately. On Monday, he put me in a headlock, and it made me feel like it was time for me to leave maybe. We continued to fight to this morning, where he tells me if I'm no longer his wife, he won't be a father to our daughter, who is 5 years old. No phone calls, no visits. I'm not sure if it's worth it or not. I'm so heartbroken for my daughter. What do I say to her if she asks where her father is? I need advice on how to proceed with telling my daughter and the consequences of not having a dad. Edit number 1. I didn't expect this many messages, so I'm sorry for not being able to reply to everyone. A question I saw a couple of times is, what did I do to make him react this way? I did not cheat nor give any indication of doing so, albeit he has accused me of it because he can't understand why I'm fighting with him. His words: we were having a conversation about why we've been fighting. Our fight has been revolved around an incident that happened at Family Beach Week. He didn't want to go initially, but went anyway to make me happy. His words: I made plans with my sister-in-law to take our kids to an arcade 1.5 miles down the road because the weather at the beach sucked. He was asleep when I made these plans, roughly 9:30 a.m. When he woke up and he wanted to go out to lunch instead, but I told him I made plans for the arcade first and we'd go probably in 30 to 40 minutes. He was upset by that. He said I slighted him and showed them preference. He put me in the headlock when I didn't leave the room as soon as he wanted me to. He threw something and said I was going to call my dad. That's when he tried to grab my phone from my hand and I wouldn't let go. He put me in a headlock at that moment to try and get my phone from my hand. It didn't leave bruises, but my neck was sore for 3 days. So I could have de-escalated the fight by either leaving faster or dropping my phone. So it's partially my fault as well. This is the first time he's ever put his hands on me. He usually just screams and name calls. I'm sorry for the long edit. Edit number 2. I've talked to my dad and he wants me to move back home with him. He lives 1.5 hours away in a different state. I found a pro bono attorney that accepts application to help on Monday at 9 a.m. Weird, I thought personally. I don't have money for a lawyer as I've been quoted by most to be around $300 an hour in my area. Other than that, he is acting normal and I'm freaking out inside. We've been fighting for 3 weeks since Beach Week, and now he's like his old self. I feel like any misstep I take will make him go back to fighting. It's screwing with my head. I keep thinking maybe it's over and we can go back to normal. He even asked me to play zombies on Modern Warfare like we used to, and all I could do was cry while we played. It'll be our last time playing. I keep saying the lasts of things. Did you guys catch that when she said he usually just screams in name calls? Bro, what? But also he said, let's play Modern Warfare Zombies, and then she cried? They don't even have zombies on Modern Warfare. Well, I guess there's the new one. But what? Is this one real? Is this one real? This guy sounds crazy. If it is real, that guy's a man-child, and she needs to get them kids, well, that kid and herself out of there. But what? Next story. Story number 6. My 38F fiance, 37M, only realized that he can't find his passport the night before our honeymoon, and now we can't go. Some context. A family member gifted this trip to us for our wedding. It's the only nice thing we're doing for the occasion because otherwise we're just going to go to the city hall and have dinner with family. After this year's ongoing strike, you can guess the industry, and a bad financial year before that, I've been the sole breadwinner, and while he's been very helpful around the house, it's starting to breed resentment and fear in me. I'm so nervous that this event will only be gasoline on that fire. Could you please give me some perspective, Reddit? My fiance is so kind, and we get along so well, and I love him dearly, but these lapses in judgment are beginning to grind me down. This was the kind of trip that we'll never be able to afford on our own, so I'm feeling this hard. Update 1. The following morning. First of all, thank you to everyone who wrote such kind advice, and also thank you to those of you who called him irresponsible, because you're really appealing to the anger in me right now. I wrote this post in the middle of the night as we were still looking for the passport. Hope remained that we might find it. We did not. It's the weekend, so there's no chance of getting it until Monday. We called one agency and they said that they no longer do day of passports after COVID, but there's a chance that we might be able to get into the federal office on Monday/Tuesday. I honestly should have gone alone, but the one detail I left out above is that his aunt and her family were also going to be on this trip, and I felt uncomfortable joining them without him. We'll update Reddit on whether or not I end up making it on Tuesday. I'm still really emotional and I'm perhaps not acting too rationally right now, but I'll let you know whether I end up making it or not. I'm also not going to lie, I've said many things that I regret. Update 2. Later that evening, while I spent most of my morning continuing to indulge in self-pity and anger that I was not arriving at an all-inclusive 5-star resort, but instead was waking up to a dimly lit apartment. Torn apart from us searching for the passport just hours before, I did manage to eventually turn the day around when a midday group therapy session, our first actually, really did turn the day around. Few points below, plus some good news to wrap everything up at the end. After therapy, we continued to talk out some of the major themes of his mishap, his lack of preparation, how this ties into how hard it's been that he's not working. By the way, he does actually work/proactively look for work. It's just that he's in a very difficult industry and there's some complexity that I won't get into. And there's also how I tend to catastrophize, and as many of you have pointed out, should continue to consider how making marriage works means working with each other's strengths and weaknesses. Also, want to call out that he has only traveled internationally as an adult once before, so there was a certain amount of ignorance that's forgivable on his end. Plus, we're both neurodivergent creative types, so this is the type of behavior I need to come to expect and decide if I can put up with it. I think I can. I just need to be more proactive about helping him in spots where he's weak versus judging him and testing him to see if he'll succeed. Since many have asked, yes, he did apologize and admit to his role in this situation. It's all his fault. He keeps assuring me that he'll make it up to me throughout the week. His aunt emailed and told us that it all worked out in the end. She gave the room to another family member. Our flight was refunded, and she assured us that she'll reschedule the trip whenever we're ready. I am, however, punishing him by forcing him to allow me unlimited reign over the TV. BBC historical miniseries are on the slate for the rest of the weekend. I'm also trying to figure out if I should go back to work later this week or take all these days off. Thank you to all of those of you who replied. I'm far too zonked out to respond to you all, but I appreciate those who gave me very valuable passport/travel tips. Made me feel seen and/or reminded me that sometimes humans do stupid things. Well, seems like everything worked out pretty fine, right? Like, that's about, given the situation, I think that's the best you can do. Good therapy, you got a refund, he's making up, they're doing better, they're trying to work on the marriage, she realizes her problems, everyone wins. Communication, everyone, yay! Okay, I'm done, bye.